guys. Hope you guys were awake because these last couple of days have been non-stop entertainment, man. Financial entertainment. I'm watching people go at each other's throats. I mean, Elon Musk, who just a couple of years ago basically didn't like Trump very much and now is Trump's best friend, and now he's probably not his best friend anymore. I mean, the only reason why he's so excited about tariffs in the US, because, BYD, 10% of which is owned by Warren Buffett, that Chinese company that makes the EV cars that are currently, they're picking. I mean, I don't see as many Teslas as I see BYDs in this country. So BYD is a Chinese-made EV car that is a lot more cheaper than the Tesla. Well, I mean, considering the fact that 85% of the Tesla cars, I mean, the ones that are manufactured in the US, come in American parts, right? And American stuff and American this. Those tariffs going up would be great for Elon, right? It just makes the BYDs more expensive and makes it easier for him to sell his Teslas in America. Can't you guys see that? I mean, like, seriously, the stock market went crashing 2 days ago, then it bounced up. And what was Mr. Donald Trump's tweet? It's a great time to buy DJT, which happens to be, the ticker for his stock. Doesn't the world know by now that we have a con man as the US president? Seriously, I mean, look, I'm not trying to rain on my American friends parade. Okay, all right, I've got a lot of American friends. Okay, I've got friends. But basically, all my American friends are working in Southeast Asia. They've been working in China, Hong Kong, Taiwan. I've got lots of friends who are around the region. And trust me, they know more about China than the average American does, because the average American seems to think that Chinese factories are manned by thousands of Chinese workers making cars. No, that's the American companies. In the Chinese factories, they usually have like about a handful of workers, because the rest of the work is done by robots. Yes, robots. They literally take the car and they dump it into a vat and it gets painted white by a robot. The robot assembles the car. All the Chinese do is they sit in front of a computer terminal. So, but the jobs that Navarro wants the Americans to have is, let's bring those iPhone factories back to America so the Americans can put the little screws inside the iPhones. I mean, collective stupidity. I mean, it's so entertaining. And the funny thing about this whole thing is, okay, the Americans decided to slap tariffs across the world. Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to get into the whole tariff argument. Tariffs are basically scalpels you use to protect nascent industries so they can grow. A lot of countries use them, right? Okay, fine. Let's not get nitty-gritty. I mean, the Americans have had tariffs on their farm products for many years, and everybody knows that. They're protecting their farmers, okay? So, okay, let's not talk about tariffs as much. But this is the thing, you see. When you go around threatening the world, you got to remember one thing. The world owns your ass. Because, okay, while the Americans owe $30 trillion, to 70% of which they owe to their own people, because they were smart enough to borrow off their own people. So basically, the wealth that the US has created in the last, since the 60s, actually, the debt has really started to climb in the 80s. That debt is US Treasury bonds. Okay, so how does this work? Basically, what the government does is says, hey, we need money. Okay, would you like to lend us some money? We'll give you this T-bill. You lend me $1,000. In 10 years, I'll give you 1,010. That's a yield. So the 10%, that was 10 is like that, but we all know the yield isn't that high. So, okay. So the thing is this, right? 70% of those T-bills are held by Americans, like the Federal Reserve, the pension funds, retirement funds. Yeah. So basically, Americans owe 70%. 30% of that is held by the rest of the world. So here is Trump deciding to go to war with China, the rest of the world. Okay, so he's gone to war with the EU, who holds $4 trillion in your debt. You want to go to war with China and Japan. China used to have 1.1 trillion back in 2013. It's pared down to about 800 billion, which isn't very much. Japan owns USA's ass to the tune of about 1.1 trillion. So when the T-bills started to get liquidated yesterday, because when the stock market crashes, fund managers around the world, they don't sell shares. They will usually run to buy T-bills because that's supposed to be a safe haven. So they will run to T-bills and gold because that's safe havens, right? But unfortunately, T-bills in yields have been going up before Trump became president, which actually means that the bankers and the private hedge fund all these guys, these investors around the world who lending money to the US are going, we don't know, no. Things looking a bit shaky down there. Yeah, I'm sorry, we got to up the yield. Yield means the risk of default is higher. Okay, so they're thinking, you want to lend money, it's a bit more expensive now. So that was happening before Trump got elected. After Trump did his market nonsense, right? T-bills went up. The yield went even higher because now the Fox is coming up with this story that Japan was dumping the T-bills. Actually, it wasn't just Japan, because every freaking fund manager I've spoken to in the last couple of days all told me the same thing. You're selling T-bills because it's better than selling the shares. Because when you buy unit trusts, like if you go to a bank and you decide to invest some money with unit trusts, so it's like a mixture of stocks and bonds. So the bonds are meant to leverage the risk of the shares. But if you start selling the shares, you lose more money because the shares are going to go up, right? But the bonds, the yields is about the same. So shit, man, let's sell this. But if you start selling bonds off first, it usually means everyone is very jittery. So the Americans decided to go to war, start a trade war with people who owe them money. It's as good as starting a bank, right? I'm not going to bank with you anymore until you give me lower interest rates. Do you think the bank is going to go like, yeah, we'll give you lower interest rates because you demanded for it? I mean, it's like, seriously, this is the ultimate con man. Now, you've got a whole bunch of his crony friends who probably made millions in a short period of time. Boom, pop. Oh my God, damn. This is crazy, man. I just had to get it off my chest because it's so hilarious. I just been watching this unfold the last couple of days. It has been absolutely hilarious. It's not good, no? I mean, it's not funny because the world is heading into a very dangerous direction. Because I hope these people will come to their senses very soon, because we are heading in a very, very bad direction. Yeah, either they come to terms and they go like, okay, fine, we were two bad children fighting each other. Okay, fine, let's call it off. That's the best case scenario, which I don't see happening. And the worst case scenario is the US is replaced as the dominant economic power in the world, which is going to be terrible for the rest of the world. Yeah, sorry, man. Hey, Oleg, how are you, man? Shaw973, welcome to the stream. Pot Shots. I like the handle, man. Pot Shots is going well. I'm tired. Some of my friends want to play tennis with them, and I'm recovering from a torn calf muscle. I'm in my 3rd week of recovery. So, I can walk. I can't run. I tried today because the muscles still felt a bit sore. So, supposed to do strengthening. I don't think I can strengthen it as much anymore, man. It ain't going to be strengthening very soon. I think I'm about 7 weeks away from a complete, I'm 7 weeks away from being able to do sprints. Yeah, that's how I count it. Which is tough, man, because I love running. I love doing interval training. Or because I have to cover the court for a person that doesn't cover the court. Part of me doesn't want to play anymore. It's like, part of me wants to be the kind of player that just goes, we're going to return the ball and make sure the other person runs. My partner. I thought doubles would be so easy. Because at my age, I can't play singles anymore, right? I'm too slow. I'm too old. So welcome to the stream, guys. Today we're going to do you and me. You and me. You and me. You and me. Yeah, and for those who might be interested, yeah, I'm just popping it out. If you want to pop in a tactic and you got some questions for your tactic, you can do it too. You can use channel points as well, because that little link is going to disappear after a while. And yeah, because the goal for today is actually I'm going to be doing a save called You and Me. Now, You and Me is a different save compared to the normal saves that I do. The normal saves I do got some long-term saves, and this is a different save. In a sense, what's happening in the save is you are the managers of Leicester City. Yes, you control the manager that, or rather the assistant manager that's employed. Then we go on holiday with the assistant manager and he employs the tactics of his choice. So it's not too bad. It just is a different style of play. So basically, you are bringing players into the club based on what that manager's tactical style is going to be. And you're hoping that he does well. And let's say it hasn't been going too badly for you guys because you are now 10th on the table. Now, you had a manager that you started with and you assistant manager that you started with who barely lasted in his job 3 days. 3 days. He lasted 3 whole days. Yeah, because he lost his first two or 3 games, I think. And then you switch to another manager, and he's finally settled on the 4th man assistant manager who's not done too badly for Leicester. Now, if I'm looking at Leicester right now, your run, I mean, Nelly Graham was just the name you have to give it. But here, look at his performances, man. So this is how the first manager did. He won the first game against Aston Villa, but you fired him after Brentford. Brought in another manager who basically lasted all of 3 games, and then you fired 4 games and you fired him as well. And then you brought in another manager who didn't do too badly and is doing quite well. Win over Bournemouth, win over Wolves. Then of course I decided, I'll field my youth team. Which didn't turn out very well for me, because I ended up losing that game. And of course, we've got a few matches here, and it's not done too badly. And of course, you haven't used your all-powerful wildcard transfer. So you can bring in players to this club. And the transfer history for, I think this is Tottenham, right? So if you were to go to Leicester and we were to look at their transfer history, let me get to the transfer, wherever it is. Okay, then transfer history. So these are all the players that are at the club or have come in, right? So you added quite a few players. We had Pembele, Veron, Zappa, Kwanzaa. Of course, some of you wanted Danny Mota. Danny Mota is at the club. You're on stage, Matteo Pessina, Antonio Silva. I gave you Jet Spence as a friendly, 2.5 cheap price, and he's done quite well. Joe Bellingham, I never see him play now. Okay. And these are the players that you brought in. Of course, you had one humongous signing, which was your free signing. I think it was Lorenzo Luca. You brought him in. I think it was Lorenzo Luca for all. No, it wasn't Lorenzo Luca. It was the defender. What's his name? You brought in a defender, I remember, and this defender is like the greatest defender, Antonio Silva. Yes, you can't afford Antonio Silva in the real world, but you managed to use that free wild card to bring him in. Trump played the Uno reversal card to manipulate the market. Exactly, Marcus. I think that's exact. I mean, when people start, one of these days, people are probably going to come to the realization that they've got a con man in the White House. But I don't know, the I've had a lot of American friends I've spoken to and who basically apologizing to me for Trump, and I'm going you have nothing to apologize for. You just got outvoted by the person who doesn't know who was the first. You got outvoted by another American who probably doesn't know who your first president was, or what 2 + 2 = 2, right? Or how they can't spell restaurant. I mean, you'd be surprised, right? If you go to the US and you ask somebody to spell restaurant, pick any random person walking down the street, ask them a question. Who was your second president of who was the second president of the United States? And when you had your Civil War, who did you fight against? Chances are there's going to be a whole bunch of people who can't give you the answer. And those are the ones that voted Trump in. And they are the ones who are going, hey, we are so happy that Trump decided to close down the Department of Education. Put it back to the States. Yeah, right. Yeah, those are the ones. And of course, we're gonna get all these. I mean, I've had people come up to me on Twitter and go like, "You don't know what you're talking about." Then I'm going like, "Yep, I'll accept that. I have no clue what I'm talking about. By all means, carry on. Live your life. Live your fantasy world, man." I thought it's illegal to manipulate the stock market. This way now the US markets are. It is illegal. Absolutely. There was actually a representative of the House who asked Greer the question in a one-to-one and said, "This is market manipulation." And the trade secretary was going, "This is not market manipulation." His voice dropped down like a whole volume level. It was like he knows it's market manipulation. He just doesn't want to say it because Donald J. Trump, his boss, told everybody to go and this is a good time to buy before the market rallied. Oh, and you know who are the people who lost all their money? This is what I call a transfer of wealth. From all you poor fellas who are depending on your 401k, you just give all that money to Trump. That's so daft, no? It is so daft. I felt sorry for them. But then again, you know what I mean? These kind of things keep happening in the US, but what can we say? Life is like that. Yeah, okay, we got two tactics. I'll take a look at both of them and let you know what I think. We might play with them, we might not play with them. If you want me to play with them, hey, you're gonna have to use the link that comes off Discord. Those guys who have on Discord, they'll use their channel points, of course. And I think you're going to use channel points as well. And I end up having to play the tactic anyway. So, yeah. Should I move to London? I mean, okay, London, yeah. I think we should all move to Ukraine. Join the war effort. I mean, even the Russia-Ukraine war, right? I mean, if you think about historically, right? Okay, they've been doing this for centuries. That line across Russia and Ukraine, right, has been going on for it's like the division between the Russian Orthodoxy and the what was it called? The Greek, the Roman Church, right? So it was like the Roman Catholic Church and the Russian Orthodoxy. It's like you think about it, right? This thing has been going on forever, and it's like there's this wall that the Russians seem to like. You see, look, you're not gonna push through this wall, and NATO decides, yeah, you know what, we're gonna support Ukraine. Then as they get closer to the Russian side, the Russians gonna start pushing back. Hey guys, this is gonna happen. I don't know. I mean, like seriously, people should go. I don't know. It's just we live in a very strange world where ignorance seems to lead the drive for most people. It's funny, And the best part is the White House press secretary said, "Oh, but this obviously you guys never read The Art of the Deal." I didn't know The Art of the Deal was about backtracking on what he promised. Really, like capitulating without getting an agreement. I mean, was that his whole plan all along? To bluff the whole world? And then after that, have nothing. All he's got, right? He has nothing, no. I mean, the Trump has got nothing. He's got nothing. The EU imposed tariffs already. China has imposed tariffs. What did he get from the rest of the world? Because these are your two biggest trading partners. Okay, and you're telling me that you're making deals with the rest of the world, right? I can see him making the deals with the penguins, right? They got the penguins want, them to be driving Teslas on their little penguin island. I can't wait to see the penguins in a Tesla, man. Yeah, that's the deal he got. The penguins capitulated. We're gonna be driving Teslas made by Elon Musk. It's so hilarious. I can't believe that so many people fell for this guy. And people are going like he's great for the market. And the guys who said he was going to be great for the market, right? I remember the 2024, all these guys were going, he's going to be great for the market, great for the market, great for the market. Yes, he's pro-business. First thing he does, he wipes out 11 trillion of wealth from the Americans. My first act as US president. Let's shave 11 trillion off the wealth of our country. I thought you're supposed to make them rich. But he has to prove to everyone first how, yeah, I don't know. It's like hilarious world we live in. Oh, hey, seriously, got Marlboro. Hey, I can't dwell. I'm not supporting cigarettes, man, here. Next tactic, I'm going to rename this to Dunhill. Okay. Let's look at this tactic. We got Mez, CM attack, DM support, wingback attack, wide center back. Okay, one thing I want to say about this tactic, right? It's not really going to do very well as a attacking system because you're going to be spending so much time attacking and you're going on slightly low tempo. So essentially what your tactic is trying to do is we're taking our time to get up the pitch. And then when we do get up the pitch, we're going to have two guys who are going to decide to be creative in terms of scoring goals. What, you have the world's best team, is it? Because complete forward is going to roam. This is going to create opportunities as well as score. The elephant is going to drop deep. So you can't expect this guy to suddenly score goals because he's got a long way to go. Do you know that distance between here and here gives the defending team plenty of time to come back and defend? So when I'm looking at this tactic, I'm going, yeah, one of the best ways you can play this tactical system is shifting these two guys high up the pitch, right? So you play a more front foot tactic and you can turn these guys into like two wide center backs on defending. You can defend, you can play front foot all the way. Man, these guys will be in a position to support your attacks a lot more. And then when you're playing a slightly lower tempo, this presupposes the fact that of two things. One, your team is super good at keeping the ball because a low tempo tactic basically tells the team, hey, we're going to take our time to bring the ball up the pitch. But we're going to do it by standing very far away from our goal. That's what your much higher defensive line is doing. So when you do this as well, you're telling all these guys, you know what, when the ball comes, if there's a trigger, somebody miscontrols the ball, any one of these players, 1, 2, 3, 4, could end up pulling straight for that player. So my advice is drop this to here. You can't really use prevent short goal distribution with this instruction. I mean, you want to, you can, but do you know who's going? Because 4 players are going to decide to sit on the opposition players, like the 2 fullbacks, the 2 defenders, and the goalkeeper. They're going to try and and they're going to try and at least 4 players are going to try and shut them down. These two guys will go up quite high up the pitch. Maybe they will be one of the 2 players. I can't guarantee that. Can you guarantee? The only 2 we can guarantee are these 2. So where are the other 2 going to come from? Could it be from here or here or here? So you can't really guarantee that, right? But you can try if you want to, but I would definitely pay attention to who goes up. Right? If you find that it's not really helping your cause, prevent short goal distribution is fine. This is a high block tactic which has got 7 or 8 players in your half. Actually, 9 players in your half. So you can imagine how many players are sitting behind the ball. So all these players are not really going to be front foot, right? They're going to wait until the ball comes somewhere here on the pitch, which means that these guys probably will end up defending somewhere around here. So if you want these guys to really be front foot defending, your mentality has got to be a lot more aggressive, and you got to think about overlaps as well, because this will increase the positioning of the starting position of those 2 players. And this means that these players might just be able to put pressure on opposition fullbacks. Now, this tactic has got a Mazzala and a wingback on this side, and this wingback is going to drive up the pitch. So it's a very cross-friendly tactic. But when they cross the ball, they don't really have a target guaranteed that's going to be in the box, because this guy is going to roam and this guy is going to drop. So my advice is, if you're going to have a combination like this, why don't you just go advance forward, complete forward attack? Because now you got 2 attack duties. One that's always going to look for opportunities to attack the box. Now, if you're worried because you want to play on a lower tempo, then go with a pressing forward on attack. So he's always going to put pressure on the defenders. This guy's going to roam. Now you got a combination that could work really well together. So here, this work ball into box, you better be good, because you're going low tempo plus work ball into box. Low tempo, take your own sweet ass time to get up the pitch. When you do get up the pitch, take your own sweet ass time to score a goal. How good is your team, man? This is like the ultimate in, you better be top tier. You better have a lot of good players. And if you have a lot of good players, what are you playing this formation for? Because this is a defensive formation. Now, if I had a very good players, I'd probably play them here. I'll probably play him as a wing on support. Why not? I mean, I think this is so much more attacking, and then I don't have to use this instruction. right? And I can play this on a medium tempo, right? I don't need ball into box. I mean, you can if you want to, if you're that good a team. And then now I probably could have these two guys on defense duty, protecting the defense, and this guy's gonna push up and try to win the ball high up the pitch. Oh, you can even go even more psychotic. Play libero on support. Libero. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna change his tactic to this, and I'm gonna show you how I play it. Okay, so I'm gonna just CM on support. Okay, we'll just go DLP. And I'm going to turn you into a libero on defense. Check this out, baby. We got psychos playing in defense, okay? All right, we got our entire psychotic team now, okay? I'm going to try this, okay? I'm just going to show you how I know how insane I can be when I play this game. All right, much higher defensive line. I don't need the back line to be that high up the pitch anymore. Because this means high are my thingamajig, the microphone or whatever you want to call that. Okay, so we're gonna keep it like that. We're just gonna go advance forward. Okay, now like, hey, this is wrong team. Hey, this is the correct team. So we're gonna go to Nelly Granville and go here and go on holiday. And go on holiday. Okay, so that guy is going on holiday. We're coming back to our team. We're just gonna play this out for fun. Okay. Then at least now Trump knows who the countries that he can bully more, since they are the first few countries discussed on a reciprocal tax. Yeah, I think so. But see, the thing is this, right? One of the countries he tried to bully was Vietnam. But do you know who's in Vietnam as I speak? The Prime Minister of Spain. He was in Vietnam a couple of hours ago. I think the last 24 hours, the Prime Minister of Spain was in Vietnam for a Vietnam-Spain summit. And who do you think do you think one of the largest suppliers of meat products and a growing market now for China? Spain. And why do you think the EU has slapped tariffs on the US? So I think they're picking the fight with the wrong people. But that's Trump, Dumb as a doorbell. Yeah. They're picking the fight with the wrong people. Seriously, they think they got. Oh yeah, like I said, the best deal they're gonna get is from the Penguins, because the Penguins will not fight back. The Penguins will agree to put Tesla workshop on Penguin Island, tariff free. Yep, and they can export all their Tesla cars from Penguin Island. That's gonna be so cool, man. It's gonna be hilarious. I'm just waiting. Yeah. Oh, Tone 24, you're American. Oh man, you're good, man. You can spell restaurant. Okay, who's the first? Okay, this is the classic though. I was actually watching I was actually watching, I think it was, I don't know if it was Jimmy Kimmel Live or one of the other shows, but they did a Pops quiz, right? They were asking guys in Florida these questions, and I was laughing my head off, bro. Like, for example, the one of the funniest questions I laughed about was, who did the Americans fight during the Civil War? I was like, okay, I mean, Civil War, man. Who doesn't know the Civil War? I mean, I can tell you, right? The person's answer was Mexico. I'm like, okay. Mexico. I was like, you were fighting. Oh no. And I mean, some people didn't even know the first president of the US was George Washington. Like, oh, sorry. Who's the first president of the USA? Oh, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln. I was like, yeah, it's an indictment of the American. I completely agree with you. But this is the thing, right? I don't think the average American is that. I also think that Jimmy Kimmel they probably, right, because it's a maybe it's a stand. They got to do punchlines, right? So it probably is like they put the worst answers people gave, and they just put it there, and okay, just to make it more entertaining. Because yeah, I've been in TV before, so I know, like, you want to craft a really good story, you choose the best bits, right? So they probably took, oh shit, this guy knows his answer. Now we're not using him. Oh, this is so good. So I'm like laughing my head off. Okay, so we're gonna use these three guys. We got Romero as a libero. So I'm gonna use this. This is way out there as one of the more aggressive. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on balance. You know why? Because I ain't sure this is gonna work. Okay, I think this is psychotic. So when I start a tactic, this is what I normally do. If I don't know if it's gonna work or not, this is what I always do. Now the other thing is counter press. We can see who's gonna be counter pressing, right? In my head, the way I play the game, if I'm in doubt, I'll also remove this. Because this is scary, man. But hey, man, we gotta play this. Yeah, so we gotta try this and see, because I like to make crazy tactics, right? So we gotta try this because this is a tactic. I mean, somebody sent in and I decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna play it differently. Okay, so what do we do now? We come into not full match. If anybody uses full match, if any one of you, and this is a serious thing, okay, if any one of you uses full match to tell you how your tactic is working, I have so much respect for you because you have tremendous amounts of patience. Please teach me a thing or two because I can't do that. I generally watch my tactics in key highlights. You know why? Because if your tactic is bad, the key highlight will show it. If your tactic is good, the key highlight will show it. So you don't get very confused. All right, so here we go. So we're playing against a 4-4-2. Yeah, let's go comprehensive highlights, right? Because we'll see a few transitions. There we go. Hoi! Look at us, baby. We are in their half. We are attacking. Look at my Libby. My libero is in that half, baby. He was all over this Lega. What is his name? Lega Bielke. So we got DLP. So how do I expect this DLP to work with the libero? Okay. Now, I don't think anybody should be doing this unless you are insane like me. Okay. The better option is go white centre-back defend, libero defend. Why libero defend of all things in the world? Because I want a quarterback combination. Like DLP on support with a libero on defend. Hey, man, it's like having two playmakers standing side by side. Right? So this is cool. And I could even do plus into space, so I'm taking a bit of risk now. Did you see LCS won the first leg against Sydney? I haven't seen that yet. I have to check it out later. I like to think that Americans aren't stupid, but they are a large part of the population that are easily influenced and manipulated. I live in the States, originally from Scotland, been here for about 20 years, and I'm constantly stunned at some of the views banning abortion. How is a man's opinion valid? Exactly, you know. Like, how can a man decide what to do with a woman's body? Seriously, like, dude, you seriously know about women's body? If men knew about women's body, we'd be living in such a peaceful world. No divorces. No anything, man. Everybody will be living happily ever after. But we don't know what's going on in a woman. Give them the due respect they deserve. Let them decide what to do with their own bodies. Okay? I agree with that statement. Totally. Yeah, look at this. See what I've done? Look. One defender. Two liberos running up. Okay, I'm not suggesting you go and do this with your tactic because this is scary, right? This is insane, okay? All right, so this is up there, insanity, very high level. So what you can do is you can go white centre-back on defense, white centre-back on defense, right? So this makes the tactic a lot more safer, okay? A lot more safer. I played a whole game with full match, 1 or 2 matches, and that's immersive. But that's a lot of patience, brother. No more vodka. No wonder you don't have any more vodka. Now I understand the meaning of your handle. It's so immersive, you ran out of alcohol. Okay. But Jodo, there we go. See, now they don't sit back, right? So this is the reason why here, sometimes what I like to do, because now they don't move, right? This is why I like to go ball playing defender. Now, this other role is kind of cool too, because he will dribble with the ball, right? Now, I won't see it now because now he's a useless white centre back on defense. See what he's done? They link up play and we get the ball up. So this is a much safer combination. Because we're using focus play, we're going to see a lot of those little crosses, right? And we don't need to use overlaps to get the ball up the pitch. Now, I just changed it to ball playing defender, right? So now the ball playing defender, what you can do with the ball playing defender, you can get a bit of the what's the thing called? The libero effect. So you will see that the guy on the left now is going to bring the ball forward. So, but you notice as well, the highlights also now showing the AI attacking us more, right? Because look at this. Look. Can you just see what's happened? Okay, that's me on balance mentality. I wouldn't even jacked it up to positive yet. Okay, now I'm going to change this to liberos, which is kind of my thing, like, you know. I'll just go libero and defend. Okay, let's not be so aggressive. Okay, so they only go halfway up the pitch. Okay, so they only go up to here. This guy will form a partnership with him. So now you notice, right? We gone back defending again, right? Okay, watch this, okay? Do we want to play our defense? We can. We can choose also not to play our defense. Ask this guy to kick the ball. Pedro Porro. Yeah, that's because Pedro Porro decided, you know what? I'm going to kick the ball long. Because we jacked up the mentality to positive, right? So we're taking a bit more risk. So this is what will happen if you start playing with a bit more risk. I'm just doing this for fun, man. Okay. There we go. Libero is up here, linking up play. Libero is not here. Okay, so you get plenty of options to pass the ball. Yeah, Libero came in to win the second ball, and we are just putting pressure on the opposition. Look at how we defend now. Okay, Libero wins the ball back. We get a quick turnaround. It got immediately getting into the opposition third, and we are still in the opposition third, and the Libero is up here to transition as well. So if you wanted to play, now imagine what will happen now if I go back to your formation, right? So your formation was like this. You were using a wingback, I think, on attack, and here you had a wingback on support. Now, imagine the same, but we are using your roles, right? So I think you had a white centre back on defense. I think there was a white centre back on support. Okay, and you had a ball playing defender here, or rather CD. I think you have to play a ball playing defender on cover or defender. So we'll just play him on cover. Now this is going to be very different. Okay. Yeah, now it's going to be very different. Now, you notice we have to change the tempo, right? So I'm playing on a higher tempo. If you're playing on a lower tempo, it'll be worse. So this is still with my tactics in effect, with the roles that I'm using. So you can tell that we are front-footing, we're attacking the AI, we're in their half, we're causing them a lot of grief. We're still there. And now we've changed. Now we've gone into this formation. And the first highlight is the AI, right? Look at that. Look at where this wingback is. Look at how he's formed a line with this guy. Okay, this other defender, the other wingback, he's lost. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's completely lost. Like, oh, there he is. He's hiding behind this guy. Look at where this wingback is. So you don't have, you basically are playing a mid. You see, when you're playing a high block with a back five, this is what you're doing, no? Your team is going to win the ball somewhere here. They're not winning the ball in the opposition third. So the goal is this. Where do you want to win the ball? If you want to win the ball in the opposition third, then play with wingers. If you are more than happy to win the ball in your half like this, then you play with wingbacks. Now, if I were to say, okay, fine, man, Dalji was talking about overlaps just now. Okay, so we'll stick the overlaps back in again. And now we'll see how we do with overlaps, right? So I like this. We're building up play. We got the overlap. You can see by the time we get the ball up the pitch, right? They got everybody back defending. They got the reserves back. They got their parents. They got everyone trying to defend. How many players in the box? 2 fellas. Defensive winger is not too bad. Defensive winger is also a viable option. But what you might end up having to do with a defensive winger, which is actually a very good role, by the way. I totally encourage people to go try the defensive winger out. You can make the defensive winger a very explosive role by telling the defensive winger, hey, you know what? I want you to get further up the pitch and cross from the byline. So you can see how deep these guys are now, right? We haven't created anything of note, right? So we're going there and he's just bringing the ball up, and we're and the thing is this, right? With this setup, okay, you probably be better off with this guy being something like a poacher or DLF on attack, because we have 2 attack duties and both of them will hold up the ball. Okay, so instead of playing an advanced forward, so if I was playing a back 5 system, the only time I would use an advanced forward is when I was playing, okay guys, we're going to sit back and we're going to really try and break through the lines. That's when other than that, this is more like, we need everybody up here to create a chance. So if I need a lot of my players up there, especially if I were to create a low tempo tactic, then I'll be looking for like a one holding up the ball and another running at defense, or one holding up the ball and the other one is holding the defender's hands. Like I use a poacher and a pressing forward, a poacher, a complete forward. Poacher is a brilliant role. It's a very underrated role in Football Manager. Probably my favorite role for strikers in the game of Football Manager. You see what's happened? I conceded a goal, no? I'm not really happy with this because it means we are too back, we are too deep. So I'm going back to trying to win the game. So I need to explain all this. So what you can do with the defense is get further forward, cross from byline. Okay, so we got this guy going all the way. Then we get this other defensive winger support. This is another very interesting role. Right? I take more risks, cross on byline, get further forward. So what I now have is two very explosive roles. And since we are going to do that, we go libero on support. Hey, baby, let's go get the goal. Let's all go liberos lah, okay? Libero support, libero defend, DLP on defend. Okay, so this guy will be a defend duty. This two will be defend duties. This guy will support. All right, let's go. Hey, no worries, man. Kadazan pride. The problem with the misinformed people is hard to change them, and they're stubborn and can't accept they are wrong. If you can't accept you're wrong, then you'll never learn. If you never learn, you're stagnant. The issue with the States is the media. I agree. I mean, yeah, you watch an hour of TV and you're watching 20 minutes of advertising easily. Or you're watching the media. Like sometimes I watch Fox News just to entertain myself. I really do though. I was so amazing, right? That the newscasters of Fox News were so surprised that because of the tariffs, an importer in the US had to pay higher prices. They were shocked. They were sitting there going, how is it possible? Shouldn't be the exporter be the one paying all? I'm like, dude, seriously. I mean, these guys are newscasters. I thought journalists were supposed to have some modicum of intelligence. So yeah, even the news itself is, the guys who are telling you the news themselves are not, don't know from right or wrong. There's something wrong, It's terrible, no. I can't. And the worst part is, I get people complaining to me like, you don't know anything about what's going on. I'm like, seriously, guys. See, defensive winger is quite high, right? So watching the defensive wingers I play. Okay, see the defensive winger is up here. So one thing I like, you see, the defensive winger is gonna come in hard and do that. Okay, the problem is with defensive wingers, you gotta be playing with guys who are what you want to call it? What's the word for it? A high aggression. So I'm going to play two Mazala so we can get like a linking, cross heavy system. So we got Mazala supporting play left and right. Do you think that you can apply offensive principles or play on the ME? What do you mean by that question? Or the ME? What do you mean by offensive principles or play again? Have you seen any of my tactics? 4-1-4-1. Everyone is attacking the AI. Yeah, you can. Because the problem with the AI is this. If you have a front foot tactic and you are able to slap all 5 channels with a player and you're attacking all 5 channels in the defense, meaning you're attacking all these guys, right? And you have another guy coming through the middle, attacking them, right? And you basically have support, you're covering your fullbacks, right? Yeah, the AI can be easily overwhelmed. Yeah. I probably wouldn't use DU. You could use because we're using defensive wingers. Yeah, you could. You could use trap outside, but if you use trap outside, this tactic becomes quite interesting. Okay, so we go libero defend. So I'll do libero defend instead because you want to use trap outside, right? So go libero defend, and then I'll put a libero on defend here. I hope I don't get fired. Libero support because we're just tweaking things, right? Okay, we got overlap. I'm not going to pass into space, and then now our tempo is going to be very high. I want to get the ball up the pitch really quickly. Okay, so we're going to do where's the trap? Trap outside. Okay, because of the defensive wingers and the 2 libero on defend. Okay, so what we now have is these guys on the left and the right. We're going to do a trap outside, which means the trap actually can start in the opposition half when they get the ball, which is all these players in the opposition third, they will just tell them, you know what, come down the flanks. Because it actually starts from here. Yeah, it starts from here. Yeah, the traps all start from the opposition third, and then they coalesce in your half. where they get, their players. You have to have players that can win the ball in your half. So you need your defend duties there. Which is the reason why I put the liberos on defend duty, so that the trap actually has somebody there to, win the ball back. So if you want to do a trap, this is exactly how you would do it. So yeah, with the defensive winger, it'll be a good option. Yeah, definitely will be a good option. So you can actually set the tactic up like this. I mean, we changed and now we are dominating, and I haven't even changed these guys yet. I'm using two Mazalas because the Mazalas are going to be in the half spaces, right? So when we get the ball, those defensive wingers actually have a partner to use, and the wingback or the not wingback, right? The defensive wingers. The defensive wingers actually have somebody they can play off. Oh no, that was a gift, man. Libero decided to pass to the other Libero and then give up. That's a terrible goal. Buongiorno, what are you doing, baby? This is so FM. Often struggle to create space and penetrate when making my tactics. Creating space and penetrating, one of the best tools in the game is focus play. Focus play is a brilliant way of penetrating. So if I were to this is too balanced, right? So if I do to do this, right? If I were to do this, then my tactic will be different. I'll probably play a winger here because I want to do a focus play down the left, right? And overlap down the left. Then we libero support as well. Okay, all right. So we go a focus play, and this guy, this flank, there might be a switch in play, and I'll probably go a bit wider now because then I can use that space. So what I've done is I've used focus play to create kind of an overload on the left side, and hopefully, my play. I mean, this is a ridiculously attacking tactic. So what's happened? So that we get a focus play on the left, right? So this focus play will be on this side, and then they hold the ball, hoping these two combine to release the guy on the right. So you can see more players now moving to this side of the pitch. Look at what we have now here. We have a 3-on-2, right? So all we need is one of these jokers to decide, you know what, we can play a really good pass. So you can see the space that was created, right? So this is how one of the easiest ways to create space in the game is to use the focus play instruction. Because what focus play does is it moves the midfielders to the side of the focus. So especially if you got like this setup, right? You got 3 midfielders. That's one too many in the center of the park. It's actually a very good idea to use focus play to actually move them to one side because they will draw a lot of players to that side. And then conversely, what you really want here is the attack duty. Yeah. And like a role that is more attacking on this. I mean, not necessarily attacking in the sense that it's got to be an attack duty, but a role like a winger that will actively look for opportunities for the rest of the players. So you can see that again, it's happened, right? So we got all these players, and we got the again, 3 versus 3. This is exactly what we wanted to see. So that's how you would create that kind of a situation. I know we didn't win, but I wanted to show you the different options that you might have with the tactic. So whoever uploaded the tactic, just wanted to share that with you. Okay, so now that was Marlboro. Now let's look at the other tactic. I mean, I probably won't play with the other tactic, but the last tactic was quite interesting. I was like quite interested in them. But we've got to create some more crazy tactics of this. Weird Daniel Hogue. Halfback coming into this place, IIB. I mean, I don't really... Ooh. Okay, the problem with we can play with this. The halfback will come in here. IFB, these are not very attacking roles, right? Then the halfback will come in. For some reason, you want a halfback here, which is kind of bizarre because these guys are already staying back. So you want to create a 4 when you have possession of the ball. And this roaming playmaker, what we're really hoping is he comes into the center. So. And then you got AP here. You got a roaming playmaker that's going to move through the tiers. He's going to push this guy into like a quasi winger if he can build play up. We'll just see how this does. But you can actually control this pitch with these 5 players for sure. So the question is, how good are these players at getting up the pitch? Poacher, AP. Why don't you play this role not as a roaming role, but more like an option to attack like a shadow striker? I would do that. I would try that. Yeah, you create an overload on one side to attack the other. So I'm going to do that now with this tactic. Unfortunately, it's got a halfback. So you're making it a bit complicated. I'll just do this, simply put. And then we'll do there's no real overlap here. The overlap is not really going to help us. Yeah, so we'll do this. This is squeezy. No, I'm going to drop this as well. We're going to leave that. You don't need massive. Yeah, it doesn't mean your players are going to press more. I like to start like that in most of my games because, simply put, if I start like that, I can always look at the situation and adjust. Because if I see more than one, because how do you know when to increase your trigger press and when to reduce it? Okay, when you go into a game, what you really have to pay attention to is when the opposition player with the ball turns his back to face his own goal. When he does that, that's a trigger. It's a trigger for the opposition, for the other team to close him down. So in the game of Football Manager, if a player A is close to the zone of another player, automatically they close down. They will do that all the time. There's no running away from that. That's closing down is automatic. However, in certain scenarios, a player creates a situation where he might miscontrol the ball. Now that's supposed to be a trigger. So when you maximize your trigger, sometimes if it's too high, you might see more than one of your players actually leave their line to go and take the ball off that player. What if that player who's miscontrol the ball, actually he might be Kylian Mbappe, might take on a loose first touch, but he's fast enough to recover. And your three players go after him, you just create the space. So there are a lot of triggers in the game. There are a lot of triggers in the game. So I would always, like, if I'm not sure, I always start here. If you're really like going like, I don't know, I'm too lazy, then set it here, you can never go wrong, right? But I would always start here if I'm not sure. Yeah, let's go. Hey, Spurs, how are you, man? How are you doing, sir? Okay, so we're going to start this and I'm going to see what happens, right? I mean, this is a quasi you and me. We don't know how the opposition did. Yeah, look at this. Bang, bang. One player here. See, a halfback is come up. The halfback is actually... So you pay attention to where Bissouma is all the time. Huh? Okay. You need to play halfback. Bissouma becomes a very important player. So now you're looking this way. I will go. I focus play down the left, right? That's what I did. I had a focus play, So Bissouma now moves closer to the left side of the pitch. What if I took it off? Notice this Bissouma was on the left side, right? Now I take it off. Because I wanted Bissouma to move there. Now let's watch. Right? So now the tactics like this. Bissouma is here. Now where is Bissouma? Okay. When we have the ball, where is he? Still on the left. He's not very close to the fullback. He's not very close to the IFB and the winger, right? Okay. Keep paying attention to him because if I were you, I'd just play ball-winning midfielder and roaming playmaker. Not halfback. Because if a lot of tactics actually can work with just one midfielder. I'm doing okay, man. I'm enjoying all the entertainment that's coming off all the news networks right now. I'm just having... I think the world is heading for a very dark and dangerous time. And I'm trying to find some humor in it. But every time I think about it, I get worried. Yeah. But we are definitely coming to a point in our lifetimes where there's going to be a complete reordering of global trade and complete reordering of economic superpowers. Yeah. If the Americans aren't, we could end up, I don't know, man. I don't know what Trump is up to. I don't know. Seriously, he wants to bring manufacturing back to the US. Does he even know what manufacturing is? Like, what does he want the Americans to do, man? He wants them all to make Nike shoes. I thought they all wanted to wear Nike shoes and sell Nike shoes, but he wants them to go and make Nike shoes now. I'm like, dude, seriously? Do you have any idea what your people want to do? He wants them to make Nike shoes, screw in iPhones. Alright, dude. The factories now in China, they're automated, FYI. They don't really have people making Nike shoes. They have machines making Nike shoes now. Have you been to any of the factories in China lately? Man, they have like 20 people in a factory making 1,000 cars. 20 men in one factory making 1,000 cars. That's what's going to happen when they onshore manufacturing in the US. Because those people that think that they can bring back car manufacturing to the US are sorely mistaken if they think suddenly, oh God, now I got my old job back. I can get a job to put a tire on the car. Damn, I'm lucky. Or how about this? Wyoming's governor, I think the representative of Wyoming, he actually stood up with a piece of coal talking about how good clean coal is for the American energy sector. I mean, I never thought anybody would be like, huh? First up, is there such a thing as clean coal? I'm like, what the hell's gone on? What they want to... Really? I don't know, man. Seriously, it's such a strange world we live in. So yeah, I'm enjoying all the drama. I'm really enjoying the drama. So we're going to change this to a ball-winning midfield on support. Ball-playing defender, inverted fullback, winger. I tell you what we'll do. We also do an overlap and an overlap. Why? We get a position on these guys higher up the pitch. Now, ball-winning midfielder can actually play on defense. He'll support the ball-playing defender. Then we got AP. We got this guy going out. In fact, now what we can do is we can tell this guy to go forth and conquer. Okay. And then got Poacher. He's going to work around this guy, roam from position. Got a shadow striker here. We got a little underlap with a focus play. And we just remove this overlap now. Okay, so roaming playmaker is going to come up. He's going to shove this guy to the flanks, which is not really a good idea. But hey, man, that'll be fun. Okay, here we go. Kulusevski to Jaurego. Jaurego plays a really long pass. So that was not very nice. So let's think about this. Okay, we up the tempo a bit more. Now, I think that he could have played the pass a bit earlier. Pedro Porro, look at him go, man. They got a cross in. That generally happens. We got wingers, right? So you're bound to see a few crosses. But again, here's like a 3-man defense with a 4, right? So what I've done now, see, instead of having a role that actually comes in here, what I've done is I'm actually actively pushing these two guys higher up the pitch. If you look at the build-out patterns right now, you've gone from looking a bit odd into a 3-4-3. You got this nice shape here to defend, and you got a 2 in midfield. So what I've done is I put the DM now, playing a DM now. So the DM now is going to support that roaming playmaker high up the pitch, so we can try and get some goals. Lately, been trying to replicate Fergie's last dance tactic. I don't know what's Fergie's last dance tactic, man. It sounds interesting. Yeah. I think Fergie's last few tactics featured a false 9, if I'm not mistaken. I know that he did play with a 4-2-3-1. Alex Ferguson did have a 4-2-3-1, right, at that point. I could be the 4-2-3-1 because his last few tactics were quite interesting. There was even a time when Fergie actually played with a strikerless system. Yeah, you'll be surprised though. He was like one of the first few guys. I mean, I liked him in those years because there were some really interesting tactical systems that he came up with. It wasn't like every single game because he used to play these kind of tactical systems primarily in Europe and not in the UK. So like his falls, he had a fox in the box system as well at one point. Wayne Rooney, when they got Wayne Rooney, right? So they play a few, and he is an interesting tactician. I think that, So we got the IFB doing okay, defending okay. Poacher can't get to the ball. Now I'm going to jack the mentality out. This will push our defensive line, our line engagement slightly higher up the pitch. Question now is, did you have pass into space by any chance? No. Okay, so we got this underlap going on here. AP, Poacher, these two trying to score the goals, I guess. They got a winger now on the left side with this guy, and then we got one winger on support to protect this side of the pitch, counter press, and we don't need to do a counter. This is aggressive, but as you can see, we haven't really given up too much, right? There we go. So as I say, you watch your team's pressing. So we didn't have too many players going after the same opposition player. How do you know? Okay, so there are two ways of doing it, right? One is you can look at 2D Classic, but this means that you have to look at every single pixel and look for their feet. The other way of doing it is to actually do it like this, right? So you look out, And then you look at the 2D, right? See, so what you're looking at is this. See this guy, if he controls the you haven't seen a trigger press yet. Okay, so I'll show you when I get a trigger press. Now you bring in the ball, that's not a trigger, that's just normal pressing, which will happen in the game of Football Manager. Okay, trigger press is when they have the ball and your team decides, you know what, he's miscontrolled the ball, let's get in close. So let's watch it. Let's wait for something to happen. No. That's his turn. This is a trigger press, right? So what has happened here, this is a trigger press. See, if he gets the ball like this and his back is turned, right? That's a trigger for a press. So he's here now, right? So boom. Ball goes in. This is also part of the closing down. But this back is turned is what we call a trigger. So only one person chased him. That's not too bad, right? So now if I were to go trigger press maximum, which is something I never do. Yeah, he played a few tactics. He had a 4-2-3-1. Yeah, definitely he had a 4-2-3-1. 100% he played a 4-2-3-1. I remember that also. But I like Fergie's years. Fergie's last few years. Okay, now watch this. His back is turned and this guy's going to come. There we go. He stopped. Now this guy, we're looking for trigger press, right? No trigger there. He didn't lose control of the ball. Now he turns, no trigger for the ball. Okay, so this is how you tell if your trigger press is too high. But that's not enough. If the tempo is a bit slower, easier. Okay. Here's the ball. Loses the ball. Comes in. Okay. Not too bad. We go into the third. Pedro Porro. I got pen. Alright. So sometimes if you want to, you can max it. So it's a risky thing to do if you wanted to play like that. Was Scholl a DLP or AP? Oh man, definitely. Okay, Scholl was a midfielder entering the attacking third. So he was definitely a third player. So I would definitely put him as an AP. Mm-hmm. He definitely not a DLP. AP. Because he used to play from the CM tier to the AM tier. So I will look at him as a AP. 100% AP. So we got a goal. Now you see what has happened, right? You see this guy is 1 mile away, right? His back is turned, right? So we'll look at what this guy is doing. He's gone straight for him. So he left his position to go and press this guy. So now this guy, he's going to turn his back. This guy's going to go in and see how many others are going to go for him. No, nobody else. And then he's chasing him. Back is turned. He's going to chase him. Does this guy react? This guy reacted. Now you see these two guys are chasing after this one guy. He is going to react. If he reacts, means the trigger press is tight. The trigger press is quite high because you see what this guy did. See, he went and did a complete, I'm going to go back. He followed him all the way here and then checked back because that's now the zone of another player. Okay, that's why I know why. I'm going to bring it down again. Yeah, question is which phase. See, but when your players do that kind of trigger pressing, which is I see a fella, he's turned his back, I'm going to chase after him. They're going to create space for the opposition to take a shot. And I hate that. In fact, sometimes when I got like a lead like this, right, what I tend to do is, people are asking me, so how do you see out the lead? Okay, I could drop my mentality, that's going to drop my defensive line and my line engagement line. The other thing I like to do is this. And then, do I really need prevent shot goalkeeper disability? Because these are nicely placed, right? I'm going to remove this. Okay, so let's go. So when I'm done, and now of course the last one is, okay, sorry, no counter press. Let's go hold shape. Okay. So these are all things I might do in a game, right? If I wanted to, hey, you know what? I want to make sure that we make it harder for the opposition, because when we have the ball, I want to keep it. Patiently try to because I just got a goal, right? Because RPM, we moved up and out. Yeah, you see, different people have different points of view. Yeah. Some people, like Dave has said that he's an RPM. But question is, for positional play system, we'll see Scozy actually be like a DM, no? So that's one of the reasons why I do disagree, because depending on which year you're looking at Scozy, there was a year when he was basically MCAM. Like Frank Lampard, right? He's people ask me, what do you think of Frank Lampard? I go like, oh, Frank Lampard, easy, carry the low. Likes to get into opposition area. People are like, what kind of a stupid, because he was never a box-to-box midfielder. Like Frank Lampard never came back to defend, right? All Frank Lampard ever did was play in the midfield, but he was heavily involved in the attacking phase, but not so much in the defensive phase. So when people ask me, what do you think of Frank Lampard? I go like, the easiest role is either Carrillo, because I can play him in the half space, which is kind of funky, but then gets into opposition area. Why? Because that's going to guarantee he gets into the box. So it became there's like a quasi box-to-box player who doesn't defend. Yeah, Paul Scholes, there was a time when he scored a lot of goals. But like I said, depends on, I don't know. Like, ultimately, you got to pick. This is the thing, right? When you play Football Manager, it's a case of you pick a year or pick a time frame, right? And then when you pick that time frame, what you should really be doing is pick a tactical system that Fergie used, get a couple of matches, identify the players that were defending. Meaning, when they lose the ball, right, who are the first couple of players that run back? You need to know that information. What shape were they playing when they're defending? Because Fergie was always defending in a 4-4-2, right? So, okay. Now, when they're attacking, what shapes do they take up? Who are the first few to attack? Like, depending on the year you're looking at, sometimes they go into a 4-2-4, right? And then sometimes they play like a 4-4-2 on attack. So go in and look at that, because there were years when Fergie, Scholesy was like an AM, right? He was right behind. I remember he was like the guy that was linking their defense, midfield, and attack. So yeah, so it's not. It takes a while. Pick the year, quite a lot of work. So we made this. So I've used your tactic, right? And I just changed a couple of things, right? So, like I said, if I were to play this tactic, I'll never play this as a halfback, because what I'm going to do now is we're going to slow this thing down. Okay, I'm waiting for not this. We've got to go 2D because 2D is easier. Okay, all right. I'm waiting for this. Oh, gosh, kebabs. I was waiting for the heat map. Still waiting for the heat map. Okay, there we go. Pause. Okay, look at our formation now. It's a 3-4-3 so we got these guys. There's a reason why I applied the focus play to the left. See these two guys attacking here? This 3. So what I have now, you had a halfback. So what will happen with your halfback is going to be deeper. So it's not going to really look like a 3-4-3. It's going to look like some kind of a offset tactic, right? And then you'll probably end up struggling to connect the dots. Like, you get to here, and then how do I get to this guy? Then you get to this guy and the halfback, and then the halfback is here. Then how do you get to this guy? Right, so you don't have a lot of passing options. So you're going to have to look at these 3 defenders having like the ability to make long range passes. So what I did instead was I took your tactic, which had a halfback, and I changed him into 2 roles. First was a ball winning midfielder on defense, which is not a bad option, but it's too defensive. I wanted a role that is actually going to play slightly higher than a ball-winning midfielder, but doesn't go running all over the place. DM on support was the choice, because I can now unleash this guy, this winger. So now the winger can attack and do a proper, he can work with the AP here. So this role becomes almost, this is going to be a group that's going to be doing a lot of work. Ever dabble in retro DBs? I did. Yeah, I did. But again, retro DBs are fun. Yeah, I did for a while. I think it was because of the we had this PvP matches, right, on retro DBs. It was quite fun. I like that the most. Like if I were to play against somebody and we use a retro DB and we did like a draft. Yeah. So I remember one year I picked who did I pick? Romario. Picked a few. Romario, I had Ian Rush, Romario. I had a United defender, an Arsenal defender. I can still remember, I was like going through my favorite players at that time. So yeah, I definitely have dabbled in retro DBs, man. It's sometimes I feel like playing those retro DBs. They can be quite a lot of fun. Yeah. But the thing about retro DBs is, like, sometimes when you play a retro DB, right, those attributes, they're kind of like, I don't know. I remember the year I was like going, dear Lord, this guy's speed is insane. I was like, holy cow. So some of the attributes, I mean, it can be fun. It can be fun. I don't know if it was an 0304 retro DB. I'm more inclined to play the 0304 retro match engine. Oh man, that was funny because that match engine had the parting of the Great Sea. If you guys remember, every goal would come through the center, courtesy of one midfielder running from central midfield into attack. Or because the game was so predictable, right? That you could definitely get the striker here to score a lot of goals, right? So my style, I know that Diablo was made to get the splitting the two strikers and going through the center. So my strategy was different. So I had a 3-man defense and a 1-man midfielder. And then I had a 3-man attack. But my 3-man attack featured a guy wide and 2 offset strikers. So that the 2 offset, so what would happen is this guy will pull away one defender. The other 2 will pull away another defender, and we'd have a lot of goals through the middle. Yeah. That was a match engine exploit. Morientes, you're giving Morientes a good career. And that's true. Giving Morientes, in fact, making like Ian Rush, right? Win the World Cup with Wales, or giving stuff like that, Yeah, I do like the retro databases. They bring back some very good memories. For me, it's more like the heroes of those years, growing up. Because those guys were like legends. They were legends. Like watching them play. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, right? It's those earlier databases are the ones that I really fell in love with. Like, we're talking about 01, 02, 98, 99. Those years, I really love those databases. And because those were the players that inspired me to want to play football or go to the stadium or watch TV, brings back memories of you and your friends having arguments, heated arguments, your first jersey, stuff like that. Yeah, wow, that's cool. Had a Champions League save where you won with Batigol and Baggio. That's a lot. There's a lot of nostalgia. Yeah, exactly. I think there's so much nostalgia in those old databases. So coming back to whoever uploaded this tactic, right? Now you had a halfback. I don't think this is wise. So I would definitely recommend either playing with a DM on support or playing with a ball-winning midfielder. Then what you can do here is you turn this into a winger on attack. Now you've got this whole attacking pattern. Don't ask him to go roam. Ask him to attack the box because you got this guy pinned. Now anytime you play a poacher, make sure there's somebody attacking the area. Don't ever ask him to roam from position. You want him to attack the area because the poacher is doing all the work of holding the attention of the defenders. The poachers are phenomenal goal scorers in their own right. So you can do this, and then we did overlap and a focus play. Why? When I do an overlap and a focus play down here, it just means I'm making more space on the right. Now, if I've got these 2 guys attacking the box, they're going to thank me for it. So they're going to score a lot of goals. And we saw that happen in this game. We were all over Bournemouth in a 3-1 win playing this. So it shows. The numbers, if you can look at this, right? And then we look at the analytical data, see where it shows up. And then looking at the players and the passes for Tottenham Hotspur, actually team is better. So passes, key passes, you can see the combinations. Look at how important that halfback was in linking up play. He's linking up play not only with the right flank, but also the left flank and the attack. Now this is good. But if the halfback has been playing as a halfback, he wouldn't be linking up play nearly as well because you would have a big problem here because he's the only one. Yeah, so if this halfback had dropped in here during the transition, then you would be going like, okay, so how do I get the ball to this player? So that's the reason why you might struggle with this. But creating this version, I think is definitely the way to go. All right, so let's go back to some insanity now. Okay, we're going to do insanity. Okay, so libero, I'm still after that crazy libero. Okay, now what we're going to do is a libero with 3 fellas in attack. So what we're going to do here, hold on, let me think about this. Let me think about this. This one, we're going to make it really psycho. Okay, so volante on attack, okay? All right, now we want this role to be winger on support. Okay. I think I'm going to try something. Okay, libero, and libero on defense. Okay, volantes are moving up. Then we're gonna, should I do this or should I do this? I do this instead. Okay, we're gonna have this. So I'm gonna drop you guys here now. Right. So this becomes a bit more safer. So we're gonna turn this guy into a wide target forward on attack, wide target forward on attack, and wide target forward attack. So we're gonna have 3 target forwards. Okay. Hey, we don't know if this is gonna work, right? Might as well try. Wing back on attack, wing back on attack, libero on support, wing back on attack. So we're gonna have these guys doing sit narrow, cut inside. I don't know, this doesn't sound like a smart thing to do, but hey, man, we never get far in life doing smart things. Let's ask Trump. We'll have to backtrack if this doesn't work. Okay, I mean, Trump is setting a really good example for all of us on how to backtrack. Counter. I can't help myself, guys. Seriously, the humor level, the joy I'm getting from listening, I take no joy in the fact that a lot of people have had their retirement savings wiped out by one man, claiming that this is the way forward for the new golden age of America. I mean, I think, right, if Trump were to quit, we would definitely get a golden age of America. I don't know, maybe that's his whole plan all along. Okay, so we got wing back on attack, wing back, volante. No PIs here, We got no PIs here. In fact, what we'll do is just add in a PI because you know why, we've got nothing better to do with our time. Okay, all right, so we put a PI here. This tactic may not work. Okay, speaking of which, let's go check and see how your team has done. Okay, all right. Meanwhile, the Halls of Justice, let's find out how the other teams have done. Okay, so in our last game, we missed 2 games already now. So let's go and check in on Leicester City. Poor Leicester. They beat Southampton 2-1. Hey, Leicester's new manager is definitely doing well. Leicester beat Sheffield United 3-1. Hello, we better wake up. But Leicester is playing well. Oh my God, your manager, Leicester beat Norwich 4-1. Hey guys, your Leicester manager is on fire, man. He is on fire. That's 3 wins. The Leicester manager is doing well. How would you play Inzaghi? I had no luck getting something. I think Inzaghi, I would play him as a... Inzaghi is both creative and a goal scorer. So, definitely inside forward. I'll play him as an inside forward, but 100% I'll be looking at... depends on what you want from Inzaghi, right? You want him to score goals or create goals? You can do both. Oh, nice. Look at Mota, baby. You considered a soft goal here. But other than that, I think it was a very good performance of Leicester over Southampton. And then Leicester played Sheffield United. Let's check out the goals. Zappa, that's the signing I made for you guys because you obviously needed a fullback. Okay, here we go. Dropped out in this good position. Dewsbury Hall, Zappa. Look at Zappa, man. This is a great signing for you guys. No, I'm telling you, a great signing for you guys. You guys didn't even sign him. I added him to your squad. Yeah, Dewsbury Hall. Dewsbury Hall is so good at set pieces in this game. And he's actually a first choice for the AI, And the AI has got a lot of good midfielders, but he always goes for Dewsbury Hall as a first choice. Yeah. Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Like, either, yeah, he's always on the, starting 11 or at least starting. So, okay, so here we go. Pass respawn. We'll just decline because we don't know what's going on. Yeah, ignore all the... Yeah, I've got this philosophy. If players come complaining, do a Trump, ignore what they have to say, and pretend you know what you're talking about. It usually works because people believe you. So do the same thing, it works. Do a Trump. Yeah. I perhaps naively wanted it to be my hidden dagger alongside Sheva. Nah, I think in Inzaghi, what you want to do is you want to play Inzaghi like an... I would play Inzaghi more like an... okay. I think I would play Inzaghi more like inside forward. Yeah, wider player coming in from the wider positions because I think he had the ability to create and score goals. Yeah, I think Fippo Inzaghi, he did have a few seasons where he really scored a lot of goals, right? So it depends. I would like, for me personally speaking, it's more like how do I want him? If I want him to score a lot of goals, he'll be up front. Okay, I'll be playing him at 4-1-4-1. In fact, if I wanted to play Inzaghi right now, in my tactic, right, it'll be this tactic. Where's Joey Go Smash? It'll be this tactic. No doubt about it, no. Yeah, I'll be using this tactic. And I tell you something, my Inzaghi will be scoring a lot of goals. Joey Banzai, Joey Go Smash, where are you? don't know. I got so many tactics. I kind of lose track. Underlapping must be inside here or somewhere. Okay, finals. Is it Joey go smash? It's tactic. If I want to play Inzaghi, he'll be here. He'll be playing as a shadow striker behind Shevchenko. I'll play Shevchenko here, Inzaghi here, and they both score all goals. But that's only because, I'm crazy that way. How's Nelly? Hey, oh, you're back, a Spurs fan. Check this out, baby. Nelly is just chasing my ass 7 defeats, and check out your manager, the record of your manager. Nelly, the manager you signed, beat Norwich 4-1. Then after that, they beat Sheffield United 3-1. Then Leicester beat Southampton 2-1. And then Leicester over here, I think this was a defeat, if I'm not mistaken. Leicester lost to West Ham. Very, very good. Okay. Yeah, I think one thing I don't use in the game of Football Manager is Trequartista. Yeah, I don't play Trequartistas in the game. I just don't really fancy them too much, because the problem with this game is the pressing, right? Yeah, a lot of the roles and a lot of the systems that we play, they have a lot of this. They gotta go and press, right? So okay, we gotta do something very, very, very insane. So we got target for white target. Yeah, I'm not saying this is gonna work. Okay, this is just like, hey man, look at the number of crazy roles we have decided. Why is this guy support duty? You might as well attack. Triple S. Okay, let's try this again. This is completely insane. We gotta play this on balance. We're starting like insane fellas. Support, wingback, attack, volante, wingback, white target for. In fact, I tell you what, I think we will remove these 2 instructions. Let's remove these 2 instructions. The other option I have is, okay, remember how I hate this role? Okay, let's take it to a new level of insanity. Now, anybody who's been on my streams long enough knows I dislike the inverted wingback with a vengeance. Okay, but we're gonna play the inverted wingback because we got these 2 liberos coming up. So let's see if this works. Okay, yeah, we got inverted wingbacks, roles I absolutely detest, and we got 3 white target forwards. If this works, this would be crazy. This is how I make tactics. I try insane things, but the idea is quite logical. If you believe what I have to say, inverted wingback comes in here, inverted wingback comes in here, right? In the final phase over here. Okay, these 3 are going to be my liberos. They're on support because they're going to shoot up here, shoot up here. So what do I have left? Only 1 defender. All right. Now the center is going to be like a lot of fellas going through the middle, right? Volante. But the white target forwards are going to be holding up the ball, looking for runs. Don't ask me where they're coming from. Sorry. We're going to see how they do, right? This is an insane setup, right? Target forward, white target forward, volante. We want to see how these guys do. Yeah, I just noticed I was muted. I was coughing and, I've got asthma. So occasionally I just start coughing and I have to mute the mic. And sometimes I forget to turn it back on. Thank you. That's why I have this, when you guys type muted in the chat, there's an audio notification straight away to me. Okay, Hoiberg. Okay, let's go. White target forward. Nice ball from the white target forward. But Koikorius is offside. Maybe he shouldn't be playing as a target forward. I think he should be playing more like a advanced forward or a poacher. That makes more sense. Because I was just joking when I put 3 target forwards. Because this is what do you call it? Calamity. One of our friends here comes on our streams a lot. I haven't seen him for a while. Hope he's doing well. His name is Calamity. He came out attacking with 5 target forwards. And it actually worked. Yeah, it does work. Don't look at me, man. I don't know. You guys are insane. Oh, nice work. Oh, the target forward tried to get the ball back. And we're putting some pressure on. Yep. Nice work from the Volante, winning the ball high up the pitch. Here goes Volante setting up one. Oh, that was nice. The target forwards are communicating on the pitch. Pedro Porro, it's in the area. We're still looking to score a goal. Okay, here we go. Yeah. All right. Oh, blocked. And we're gonna go on to key highlights now, because I mean, I might change these roles, like, you know. I don't think I want to play 3 target forwards. I don't think this is wise. Okay, all right, so we're gonna go poacher, winger on attack, white target forward on attack. Okay. Once again, I do not recommend the use of inverted wingbacks. I don't do them in Mount Tactics, but this is because we're doing a stream, we're supposed to have fun, and we're supposed to see whether this can actually work. Yeah, I don't think inverted wingbacks is a good idea. We've already conceded a goal. And we haven't really created anything of note. I'm looking at this, right? 1, 2, 3. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at the 2 inverted wingbacks. Forget the inverted wingbacks. Okay, we're going to drop this to winger on support. Maybe I can get them high up the pitch. Drop the mentality. Sorry, drop the passing directness. Okay, there goes Son. Looking for, nope, doesn't find any options. Nice ball. Madison, and it's not a goal. I don't believe it. There was nobody to put the ball into the back of the net. That was a really good move, man. All right, so be more expressive. Okay, let's try. Give the allow the team to try more things on the pitch. Okay, they're really chasing after the defensive line. Might be a bit too high, and the trigger press might be on too high as well. Because I see players just chasing after another player. Poro inverted wing back. Now Daljit, my head says turn this to the wing backs. Better options you're gonna get, because inverted wingbacks are not gonna really attack because they are flooding through the middle with all the other roles, right? So we go wingback on attack, wingback on attack. Now we might see something very different. So now we got wingback and wingback. So these wingbacks now have a natural overlap on the, or rather they might have a natural overlap, but depending on the duty. I think this is on support or attack. This is on attack. Let's see if we get up the pitch. Still trying. Tottenham still haven't gotten anything, but yeah, we're high up the pitch. Rodon, Volante, they go the wing back. Moscato, it's another chance that goes begging. Okay, all right, now we're gonna do something else. We're gonna run a defensive triple less, put ball into box, let's do a low cross because we can do cutbacks. I'm seeing my boys go all the way down the flanks. Well, let's get the equalizer, boys. No, the liberos. No, good block. No. Oh, what a miss. Okay, let's look at the bench. Ahmad Dedic for this guy. Michael Coyote for this guy. Let's take Donley. Let's take Asensio, put him over this guy. Hendrick and put him over this guy. Okay, all right. Okay, let's go, boys. Now, libero coming up here is quite dangerous. Huh? This is only like DM, man. Nothing's happening. So obviously this tactic is shite. Not good enough. You can't get a goal. There we go. We lose the ball in transition. So obviously the guy in the center needs to be fixed. Okay, so we can't use this role here. Right? A ball playing defender on defense. Now this the liberos will support that guy. All right, that sounds like the best plan. Punya missing. Okay. Hendrick. No, now it's better. Yep, it's much better. Yeah, we got that. So this is the shape that we're going to use. Okay. I'm going to use this shape for the next game. All right. So I'm going to call this Insanity. All right. We can. There's a new word, man. Phoenician. You're a Phoenician. Or Panician or whatever they want to call it. Okay. Oh, the other word for it was terrorster. Oh man, another great save on the goalkeeper. The pressure is high now. Okay. We're getting some chances. Yeah, we got no more midfielders to bring on. So we gotta hope that these two can finish the game. Asensio, Bonjono. Okay. Wow. Okay, we're gonna go wider now because maximum width, baby. But that team is not moving. Asensio. Okay. Now it goes and then okay. Pass into space as well because they're getting a lot of chances. Dedic goes back. It looks better now after the changes. I think this is the final version of this tactic. Volante, wingback attack, libero, ball playing defender, libero, winger, and any role that these guys can take. Okay. All right. Now, the other thing I forgot to do. Okay. I think we got this done. Yeah, we got the focus plane. We're going to switch ball and then we're going to go higher. Yeah, that's the only thing I got left to do. Unlucky, the 3 tower look promising, but no cigar. Yeah, I know they look okay for a point, but they were not like clicking. Too many extra passes in the final third. But this looks a lot better. But once I get the shape right, I can go back to the tree configuration. It was more like the rest of the shape wasn't so good. So I got that. The attacking side, we can worry about it later. Because now I can create all kinds of permutations in attack. You got the equalizer. I know it was a matter of time because we have been, ever since I made the change, we become defensively solid as well. So there's no denying it. I think we're looking solid now. It's a question of, in fact, now I think that if there's enough time, the team. Okay, I'm sorry. They're going to get the winner, is it? That's a play. I knew it. Who's got the winner? Fish kebabs. If I use a mid block, activate trigger press, hard tackle. Okay. Yeah. Well, my front line, no. Will my front line rush to the defense? I better my mid block or will they just press on mistake? Yeah. See, a mid block is triggered by your. The mid block will be triggered by your strikers dropping into the positions for the mid block. So whenever you set the block up, that's where your midfielders will be. So if you're playing like a 4-2-4, your mid block could just bypass them because they will drop to a certain position, and that's where the pressing actually starts. That's how it works. Got trigger. There's no such thing as activate trigger press. Trigger press. Closing down is by default. Closing down happens whether you like it or not in a game. Okay, trigger press is activated when an opposition player makes a mistake on the ball, and that's when the press is triggered. All right, so that's how it works. So if your trigger pressing intensity is very high, then you have to be very careful of a small zone, what I like to call a small zone of compression, which is your defensive line is very high and you're playing high block. So you compress. So you play like maximum trigger pressing intensity, then you might have more than one player reacting to an opposition player who's miscontrolled the ball. So to answer your question, if you when you start a mid block, your mid block is triggered not by your trigger press. Your mid block is triggered by opposition players entering the zone of the strikers. So your strikers are going to drop a bit deeper to initiate the block. You can influence this to some extent, which is what I like to do in my games. I don't like I like to have a split press. So what I like to do is I like to do this, close down more, tackle up my tighter, because tackle hard and mark tighter just encourages them to get in closer to the player and break his legs, and that kind of, works. So I definitely would do that. No? Decline whoever Romero is. Can leave on a free transfer. This is only a 1 season save. Hey, shit! I should give them a contracts, right? I forgot. No, I haven't even looked at my team. No, I don't even know when the contract's expiring. 26, 26, 26. Son Heung-min, I haven't given a contract yet. Isaac Toure, there's a bid for him. Who's this guy? Where's he from? Okay, I'll give you a contract. Contract. Forget it. We worry about your contracts later, okay? Okay, so next game again. Let's try this. Okay, so now we did this the first game, the white target. Now I'm gonna go maybe inside forward attack. Okay, so we're gonna change this inside forward. So we got a lot of crazy roles here. Got only one fella here. We were playing a white. Is it Asensio playing as a winger on support? Then everybody's attacking. We're gonna focus made on the left, and then we're gonna try and score goals there. A low press. We're gonna max this out. Okay, let's go, man. This sounds crazy. Hey, earn a sub, mate. Thank you, man. Watching this got me itching to end my Football Manager break. Hey, look, seriously, if I didn't want to do that to you, no. Seriously, if you were on a Football Manager break, that's great, man. Go play Astrobot or some other game. Hey, didn't Astrobot win the BAFTA Game Awards? Man, I couldn't understand it. But I'm glad to hear that you got an itch to play Football Manager. I just do this tactics. I enjoy making tactics. I enjoy all the insane tactics. I make a lot of crazy tactics. It's just the thing I love doing the most. And sometimes, especially now when we have, I've already won the Champions League and I've done all the achievements I wanted to achieve in Football Manager. The only achievements I haven't gotten in Football Manager all pertain to network play or PvP. Yeah. So I'm not gonna get those achievements anytime soon. So yeah, I'm glad you got the itch, man. Oh, whoa, come on, let's go. Oh no. All right, let's berate our team. We're gonna miss this shout. FM26 is not gonna be there. All right, what have we got? What can we do? What can we do to up the ante? Already attacking. Prevent short goal business, that can help actually, because we got 3 already up there. I just got to take 1 more. All right, let's leave it like this. Let's not go too much. In fact, I'm going to drop it even more. People, I think everybody watching the show getting confused. He's playing a very attacking mentality, but he doesn't want his players to trigger the press. No, that's because I don't want more than one fella chasing after a ball. Okay, because we got a big zone of compression. I know it sounds, but I'm playing an insane tactical system, so I need Xanax, painkillers, antidepressants. That's what I need. I was giving FIFA Manager lots of good ideas, but oh my goodness, dog water, let's be polite, Kadasan Pride. Please. I'm like, seriously, the only thing good about football, FIFA, whatever Manager is the fact that they have these little animations and they're walking out, right? That's about it, though. I kind of like the game. I mean, I used to play Winning 11. I was called some other thing in Europe. It wasn't called Winning. In Asia, it's called Winning 11. But that was fantastic, man. The AI was so cool. And it's like, it's not easy to beat. I mean, I still want to play FIFA. I do. But I've got this thing about cards and stuff and collecting and paying. As the game is like mini transactions all over the place. I don't know. Maybe I'm not there. I'm worried if I play the game, my son plays the game, and that's it. My credit card bills go through the roof, and then my son looks at me, Daddy, but what, you got the game for me? And I'm going like, damn. And my son is my son can play Football Manager, so it's okay. But he doesn't want to play Football Manager anymore. He says this is not exciting. So I was really hoping Football Manager 25 was going to come out, because I do know what the game looks like. I did have a sneak peek at one point, but I can't tell you what it is like. I did at some point in some remote universe, I did have a peek at the game. And I can tell you one thing, my son might like the game, no? Especially only when they are playing football. I didn't see the rest of the game. So I don't know what the UI looks like, because from what I can tell, from what the pictures SI gave us about the UI, it was looking. When I saw the UI the first time, SI, we all saw the UI for the first time, right? I was like, oh my god, seriously, this is the UI, man. It looks like some cheapskate version of WhatsApp. Like, dude, seriously, you couldn't come up with something that looks a bit nicer? Like, even the font looks like it was made in 1991. So I was like, damn it, the colors are so boring. Like, and then they had this there was this part, you look at the UI, right, and they tell you the 5 stars. First they show you the stars or some rating, right, for the play. Like he's got like you clearly can tell from the fact that it's 5 stars, right? Okay. Then they actually write something like 5 stars elsewhere. So I'm like, seriously, now they got the UI is treating me like I'm an idiot. Like, first you have this symbol that clearly looks like 5 stars, and then you have to tell me it's 5 stars at the same time. Wow, talk about insulting. So the first time I saw it, I was like, God, they're insulting my intelligence. So when the feedback came back, right, from a lot, I mean, SI, they had to work on the polishing the game some more. I wasn't surprised. I was like going, yeah, right, okay. If those were your first preliminary preview of the game, you definitely need to polish the game a lot more, man. Because there is a person, because Miles did give me a nickname. I'm not going to tell you what his nickname is. The guys on Discord, some of them know. I told them in private. But Miles has a nickname for me. I mean, you've arrived in the Football Manager community when the director of the studio has a nickname for you. Okay. He has a nickname for me. He has a nickname for moi. I feel so honored. Okay. Really nice. It's because there was one time, right? I think it was FM 17. When SI released the UI, right? The very first thing I said when I was playing the game, I was so angry. I was live streaming. I on the stream went, what did I say? I still remember what happened, because in the match day experience, I had to take 3 clicks just to get out of the match day. And I say, which moron, okay, thinks he knows game designed this freaking UI. It was designed by a non-gamer. That was the words I used to. And I clearly told everybody I met, right, this UI was made by a non-gamer. And I actually wrote it in the feedback, in the official feedback forums. But, I did it in a constructive way. But the thing is, when you write a statement like this UI is not made by a gamer, no matter how constructive the rest of the post, that one line is enough to destroy you. Yeah. So I will be very critical of the UI if it comes out. It looks like it was designed for a non-gamer. So they know. I mean, I think when SI dropped the ball on the game, right, they knew that they have to deliver something that is so polished, it's going to be free from criticism, right? And on top of that, their game is a proud UK heritage. They had just had the BAFTA Game Awards, right? The guys from Rebellion, the other studio in the UK, were talking about how proud the UK is of their services exports in the gaming sector, where they've got a lot of gaming companies in the UK that have been created by siblings. I was going like, there are a few in the UK with siblings, but the most notable one is Sports Interactive. No, they have a nickname for me. The nickname is a very cool nickname. Yeah, it's a very cool nickname. In fact, I kind of hinted to it on one of my live streams, because I was doing, you guys, I don't know whether you remember, there was a time, right, when I was doing live streams, right? I had a monitor behind me. With these 2 really demonic eyes looking back at you guys. Yeah, because I knew then that something was happening. How do you make a tactic where you can take the most of an AP at the AP? The most of an AP at the AMC spot? My goodness, you came to the right place, man. On this stream, my 4-2-3-1s have an AP in the AMC slot, and he's usually the highest rated player in the tactic. He's usually almost always the highest rated player. Okay, the way you do it is very simple. The thing about APs is you must give them things to do. Like, put them in a central position where they have plenty of options as to how they're going to play the ball, release the ball, and create goal scoring opportunities for the rest of the teammates. So the 4-2-3-1 with the AM slot is one of the best tactics for the AP. Now, the way you do this is by using the focus play instructions again, right? Because the interesting thing is when you play with a focus play instruction with an AP, right? What will happen during the course of the match is that the AP will now drift left and right on the side of the focus. So when you're attacking down the left, the AP goes to the left. You're attacking down the right, the AP goes to the right. Now, what you can do is make the AP even harder for the AI to track. And to do that, what you do is add the PI roam from position and move into channels. Now, move into channels is between play vertical, right? So the channel that exists between the two defenders. And then roam from position just increases the positions that player might find himself in. Okay, so that's one way, right? So you give him the PI. Now, PIs, of course, are a tendency to do something, which means that it'll happen some of the time and not happen some of the time. So what you want is a really good AP with good off the ball decision making, first touch, composure, and passing, right? So those are the attributes that you need. And of course, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this very clearly, you also need aggression, because your APs are always going to be in the final third, giving defenders a nightmare. So get aggression. Now, finally, because you're using AP in this position, right, you want him to link up with all these players. Now, there's several ways you can do this. You can play a basic 4-2-3-1 with fullbacks on attack, going up the pitch. You can play overlaps, underlaps. If you play overlaps, you'll see the AP linking up play for crossing opportunities. You play with underlaps, then you see the AP linking up. Widest play will play the pass inside, and the AP will get a bit more involved, and you thread passes to the striker. So yeah, you can use underlaps and overlaps, and you can also play fullbacks to come inside and attack the center, which gives the AP so many things to do, because the AP will drop on support duty, looking for passes. He can then be passing it to the inside cutting fullback, or the winger who's stretching the thing wide. So yeah, in AP, in a 4-2-3-1 in fact, it's my preferred role in the 4-2-3-1. Yeah, probably I'll review it on the next show, but I would say it's very simple. You know, you don't even need too many complications in your tactic, right? Oh, sheesh, we just conceded. No, we didn't. I would say fullback or attack, fullback or attack. I'll tell you what the roles are. You know, it's quite simple to set up. Okay, you play fullback or attack, ball playing defender, two defensive midfielders. Now, the reason why I choose defensive midfielders is because you have an AP in front, right? You don't want too many players coming into that positional strata. You don't want a Mazzala, because the Mazzala goes into a half space, then he goes from midfield into that tier, and then he causes a shift in some of the roles. So I don't like that. So you want to use roles that do not trigger the positional play. So this will include the DMs and DLP, right? So these are the best roles. The ball winning midfielder is just going to be too high. So you want to play a DM based system. Okay, why DM based system? You don't want to use the MC based system, because then your AP doesn't have that much to do. So you want the AP to be central to the attacking trio players. Then you want your fullbacks on attack, ball playing defenders, two DMs, two wingers, because now you need wingers. You don't want to use inside forwards. Okay, you can use inside forwards if you're using fullbacks on attack with the overlapping, with no sit narrow on the fullbacks. And then the striker is just a bulk bait. You can play a poacher, you can play a pressing forward, you can play an advanced forward. Any of those roles can work. Yeah, you can also do that. That Kadazan, I use that in FM19. I also use that in FM24, no? The winger. I get them to stay wider, but I don't give them the cut inside now. What I do is I play them opposite the flank of their preferred foot. So I play the winger, right-sided winger on the left and a left-sided winger on the right. I get the same effect. But now they're wider, right? They pull defenders apart. All right, man. We did okay with this. No, not too bad. We beat this team, man. Looking at Tottenham, not too bad. Look at how high up the pitch we were. The tree, this is nice. It's basically a 3-4-3, yeah, but a bit crazy. I don't know how. Okay, somebody explain to me how a wingback ended up here. A wingback ended up here. This is our wingback. This is our winger. Holy guacamole, they're a winger. All right, that look interesting. FA Cup. Yeah. No, not Big Brother. Yeah, they were big brother for a while, SI. Yeah. But I think I like SI. I mean, I got a lot of friends in SI. So I like the guys at SI. You know, I think about me is that I think um, I like to be honest. I mean, I've known the guys in SI. I mean, I've known of Miles since he was a beta tester. Yeah, back in the day, he was a beta tester those days, right? So yeah, that's how long I've known them. Because I don't think, I mean, the Collier brothers aren't that much older than me. They're like maybe a year older than me or 2 years older than me. The Colliers aren't that old. No? I mean, we are basically the same generation, all of us. Me, Paul, Miles, all of us about the same age. Give or take maybe 2 years between us. Yeah. So I can understand why Miles can be so grumpy. Yeah. If I was his age, I'll be grumpy too. But you know, yeah. But it's very challenging running a studio like Sports Interactive. It is because the good old days were before they were part of Sega. Those are the good old days. No, those were the days when, yeah, we would get games that we would get games. Matter of fact, I made an offer for Grin. I don't know, man. Do I accept it? I'll just accept it. Whoever he is, he can go lah. Okay. Gil can go. Don't even know who he is. I haven't even used him. Yeah, those are the days. You know, when they weren't owned by SI, right? Unfortunately, who's this guy? Okay, fine. Yeah, whatever. You know. Okay, application don't appeal. Yeah. That's why cancel. Really? Who the heck is this kid, man? Okay. All right. So we got this tactic. So we done this tactic. So I think I made a change, right? I didn't make a change. Wait. Let me think. Yeah, I removed the sit narrow. Yeah, that's why it worked. Those guys in SI, the old days, they were fun. But the only downside of the old days was the fact that we get a lot of buggy stuff. How did he get in contact with SI? How did I get in contact with SI? A long time ago in a land far, far away, SI was very involved in the community those days. So the guys in SI, they'll be on the forums all the time. Yeah. So they'll be on the forums, and I used to write bug reports. I used to submit bug reports and stuff like that. So we send out a joke, and I also ended up becoming a moderator on the forums for a while, helping people with tactics. So I kind of people knew who I was by then, because as I do care about the people that do volunteer work for them like me. We don't get paid, right? So at least they care, you know. And then the day when SI took notice of me was the day I made Scramjet. That was the day when I attracted SI's interest, because I sent my game and my save and my tag, everything to SI, and I gave them a step-by-step breakdown on how it was possible to break the match engine. I explained it in a lot of detail. So I gave a lot of explanations. This is exactly what's happening. This is what I do. And that tactic didn't need special players. No. Today, you know, whenever people say they got a great tactic, they have a caveat. You have to download, you have to get this guy, attribute this. My tactic was that the match engine was so broken, I say you can use any player from any team, and you will still be able to beat any team on the planet. And to prove my point, I took Wolves, which was then a championship side, and I beat Real Madrid with the team. Yeah. So I explained it to SI, and then SI took notice, and that from that moment onwards, then SI kind of invited. Then SI decided to go in a new direction because the match engine was completely broken, right? So then I got Then somebody contacted me. It was someone who's a good friend of mine, but now is no longer involved in Football Manager in any capacity whatsoever. You know, he's completely not in Football Manager anymore. And they contacted me and they said, hey, you know what? We want to make a new tactical creator and we want you to be on board. So I was one of me, him, and one more guy called Gareth, right? So I'll give you the names. One of the guy's name is Gareth, myself, and another guy called Richard. So the three of us were the first and only three. You will hear other people talking about how they were involved, but they were not, because it's very easy to tell. If you own FM 12, right? You will go to the game and you look for the special thanks section. They will have a few names there with special thanks. Those are the guys who actually made the tactical, who were involved in the creation of the tactical creator. Yeah, so they brought me in and wrote me in, and I was part of a group of people that was involved in a special chat group, right? So with this private hush, like I can not tell so much because of what we use, but we were using something unique for us to communicate with each other. So it was me, then Miles, his brother, me, and the two other guys. Yeah, no one else was involved. Contrary to what other people like to say on their blogs, we always say is the rest of the community was roped in after we designed the TC. So that's how I got to know them. I got in contact with them a long time ago. And I'm still in contact with the Collier brothers. Yeah. We occasionally send each other cards. They still consider me good friends. In fact, when I came back, I left Football Manager, right? If you guys know, right, I stopped doing content in 2012. I totally stopped. I completely stopped. So I left the game. I sent a note to the guys. One guy in SI who was very high up the food chain. So basically he said, I'm gone. I'm not coming back. And then when 2016 when I came back and I wanted to start Patreon, because people urging me to get back into content creation and go into Patreon and all this. And I was thinking, so I told SI this. I said, look guys, got this offer from people. I know it's not a lot of money, it's just a token sum. But I said, I'd rather just do it for you guys, and then whatever you feel right, you can pay me, and then you can give it to the community, and I can do content for you guys on a full-time basis or whatever, whatever. I don't think SI wanted that, so they said no. So I said, okay, cool. Then I said, then do you mind if I do this? I actually asked for permission. I actually asked for permission from SI for me to go into content creation. Yeah. I asked for permission, and I actually asked for permission to do Patreon. Ask them. Officially, I got the email from the main decision maker over there. And he said, go for it. Yeah, so but they say it's Patreon. Look, Patreon is, he was saying Patreon is different, right? It's just like Twitch. People like you, they subscribe. Patreon, same thing. People like you, they will support you. And he says, look, like, you go enjoy yourself. Don't worry. So that was it, man. You were integral to my first ever FM. So that's why I know so much about the tactical creator. So when I left the game in 2012, right? I already know about a tactical creator. So when I came back in 2016, everybody in the community was telling me the game had changed a lot. All telling me, the match engine has changed. The rules are different. You got to do it from basics. And I was like, really? I don't think so. Then I looked at the tactical creator. I said, nothing has changed. Right? It's just the same. These guys don't even know what they're talking about. So I was people were just basically telling me, Cleon, for example. So they're just telling me, you don't know anything, everything. 2 weeks later, I created Liquid, the tactic, right? Remember Liquid, the system? Came out. I said, no, nothing has changed in this game. It's basically the same thing all over again, right? The game has never really been that different. No, I mean, the only change that ever occurred where it forced me to reevaluate things, right, was the year they introduced positional play. And even then, it was more like it's still following the same rules, right? But in terms of position, I mean, yeah, there have been changes over the last couple of years, but they're not massive changes. Like, for example, take more risks. That changed. Focus play. That changed. Focus play through the middle. Extinct. It's not a dinosaur. Nobody cares about it anymore. I don't care about it. You shouldn't care about it because it has absolutely no impact on the game whatsoever. Okay, this one instruction in the game, right? This instruction is like Donald Trump's promises. Okay, this is Donald Trump's promises. This is the one instruction in the game. Whether you take or don't take, you won't even see it. I mean, you might see a bit more passing through the middle, but really, honestly, don't bother. Okay, don't bother with this. This is one instruction you never bother with. So this focus play, they changed. What else did they change? They didn't change very much in the game. This still does the same thing it's been doing since 2012. Does the same thing it's been doing since 2012. What they did change, right, was this, right, mentality, right? So what they did change here, over the years, what's happened is originally this was meant to be defensive, 1 to 4 for team mentality. Then every role within would have like a defensive like mentality of like 1, maybe some guys will be 2, but slightly higher, right? So the team mentality be 1 to 4. And then these other roles, when you choose, right, they would have like a role, right? They would have their mentality, defined mentality for their role. But within this band, they would be affected. So if his starting mentality was 6, right, but this guy is 1 and 2, what we did was we did a weight so that it would reduce by a certain amount, right? So it'll be like, instead of 6 now, it'll be 4, right? Because this guy is ranging from, 3. This guy is ranging from 1 to 4, right? So it's 3. So the changes were minimal, And then what they did was, in the last couple of years, they changed how these mentalities also worked. Not worked. I mean the range. So what had happened was, because mentality also affects passing. Okay, what you don't see in the game, right? Okay, you guys are probably thinking, okay, what does mentality affect? Very defensive also affects passing. So, for example, right, if you play on cautious, right, the passing length is the same as attacking. It's the same. It's exactly the same. So, like, the range in passing is actually the same. So there might be some players are on mix and some players might be playing long. And then when you play on positive, right, everybody's going to be playing shorter passing. Why is this happening? Is because what we did with mentality was we actually tied that into the passing as well. So mentality actually shifted, right? Passing, tempo, width, but then they came with these two beautiful things. Line of engagement. Have you attempted to make focus middle play? No, it's not relevant. How much gambling is inside ME? Gambling? There's no gambling. I wish, I did wish that the game had gambling inside it, but unfortunately, there's no gambling in the game. Money, fixing, match fixing and all, also don't have. I wish there was. Reality in the real world is that we got a lot of match fixing going on in the real world, right? We have a lot of match fixing in the real world, but none on Football Manager, which is kind of sad. But I guess it's only fair. So, guys, I'm gonna go to the kids now, okay? And what's gonna happen is our drama with Trump is gonna continue this weekend. I'm just hoping that the world comes to its senses soon, because we're heading into some very, very, very dangerous times, man. We're heading some dangerous times. It's making me nervous, for what the future is gonna hold for everybody around the world. So I want to thank everybody popping into the stream today. I might be streaming this weekend or not, because the kids are having they like to call it something called topical assessment in school. So they're being assessed. So I kind of want to make sure that my son actually can say 7 times 5 is 35. He knows that, 9 times 6 is 6 times 9. What time? I don't know. I'll let you guys know on X or Twitter or Instagram or Threads or on the Discord channel if I'm streaming. If I'm streaming, it's most likely going to be on Saturday, which is Saturday, because Friday, tomorrow, I got to be with the kids. So I want to thank everybody for coming in on the stream today. You've been absolutely sensational. I love having a lot of chat. You got Instagram too? Yeah, I got Instagram. But Instagram more like, Instagram is more me. Just sometimes I put something on Instagram. Best case scenario, geopolitically, best case scenario, they both come to their senses and decide, you know what? China decides, China decides that it will open itself up, open its markets up a bit more, but they will not open the services market up. So I don't really see China really opening up too much because they don't really. What the Americans want is to sell their right-hand drive cars, their left-hand drive cars in right-hand drive China, which doesn't really work. And I think the best case scenario is they both come to their senses, and I think the US would have to concede certain things. Now, US is because US is basically exporting, and people like to think that the US is exporting a lot of food to China, and that they will starve if they don't have food. Seriously, guys, do your homework. The things that you're supplying them is soybeans, which they give to their pigs, 440 million of them, and the other thing is you're exporting a lot of corn to China. And so I mean, I just hope at the end of the day they come to their senses and decide, what, let's not go and create unnecessary friction for the rest of the world. They will maybe make it easier for the Americans to do business in China, making it easier for them to come out. I mean, they already do. I mean, look at the number of businesses that are in China. They've got GM in China. They've got Apple in China. They've got a lot of companies. Procter & Gamble is in China big time. There are a lot of big players in China already. I don't know what Trump is trying to do, So we'll see how. Because it makes no sense. It just makes no sense. Because the global supply chain for most of the American conglomerates are in China. The only thing is Nike also had a lot big presence in China for a while, but they moved a lot of their stuff into Vietnam after Trump's first, tirade trade war in 2017. So best case scenario politically, they just say, okay, forgive and forget. Yeah, the worst case scenario is a terrible one to consider. The US is replaced as the primary economic superpower in the world. Yeah. That is going to be very bad because it's going to be very bad. Yeah. Because let's look at it. ASEAN have got 600 million people, right? Fourth largest partner or third largest partner in aggregate to the in terms of trade to the US. Then you got China, then you got the EU. So it's not really a good idea to fight with people it's like the worst thing in the world, right? I mean, right now, for a while, everybody was like treating the American brand as a reliable brand. But right now, you've given others the argument, especially China, hey, the Americans aren't that reliable. For many years, like Singapore is aligned really closely to the US. We walk the middle path like US and China. But it's really bad. I don't know. He's just an idiot. But Trump has got to come back. Trump is coming back. Trump is worrying because in China, right? Do they worry about elections? Of course not, right? I mean, look at the biggest military head honcho just disappeared from public view like a few weeks ago. No, anybody doesn't agree with the burger, things change in China. Okay, you think that can happen in America? Of course not. America's got midterm elections coming up soon. And the Democrats are just going there. You're doing enough damage to yourself. You don't have to say much, but you just, So even MAGA supporters right now in the heartlands are questioning why Trump is, for example, smooching with Chuck Schumer. So I don't know. We'll just see what happens. So I thank everybody for coming into today's stream. You guys have been absolutely sensational. Sorry about the politics, but this is the world, and I'm old enough to care about politics. But you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves. I might see you guys on Saturday. If I don't, we're back on Monday, and we're going to continue this whole thing about creating crazy tactics. And I'm thinking the next one might have 3 Trequartistas, 2 roaming playmakers, 3 liberos. Can we make it work? We'll have to wait and find out. You guys see. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.